thing that our holy prophet brought to make us a nation. I want to give honors to all of our Moorish kin that is on the manifest in this new era and time. For we are here to uplift fallen humanity. As I'm your host instructor, Dr. Shahid Imani Mohadi Shabazz, and my ancient Comedian high name being the same as Dr. Shedwa Mintiel Mohamed Shepsuel. We got a few technical difficulties, Moorish kin, that we are running across with the live streaming. However, we actually coming directly through the platform with YouTube. We'll get the other measure fixed in a little bit. What we can do is though have this measure to where everybody come through the phone at the moment. We are still live, and I'm trying to send this measure out so that our family can see the live stream, so to speak. And it's the first time coming directly from this platform. But all is well. It worked. Anything to get this message out there to the people. And we see that our family, Renegade Jay, we give honors to you. Peace and love, brother. We got a grand drawing to bring them to manifest in this special broadcast. Like I said, I'm trying to put this measure out here. I'm going to try to share it to Facebook real quick. And like I say, many of the Moors will be able to draw. We'll just hear you coming through the phone until we can get this other matter dealt with. Basically dealing with a time frame through that StreamYard program. And so we're going to have to clear out the time block. Unfortunately, we just seen that when we open it up to try to get in here. So nevertheless, our family definitely can see us. And we are live as we speak. Yeah, we live as we speak. So we'll go forth from there. And our family, we know they can hear us on the conference call. So we going forth as usual. And some of the people that are able to tune in will most definitely be able to come into this special measure. And so I'm just trying to make sure I got everything connected on here. Trying to see if I have any other options in here outside of just having myself here. But this is just giving us a drawing here. And we see that people are tuning in though. So that's a grand drawing. So what I'm going to do, just give me 1 second here. I'm going to try posting this. Well, matter of fact, if one is on my channel, they can actually go through YouTube. I'm going to post this. Yeah, there you go, right there. Okay. So let me get this and share this on my Facebook page. And then all of the normal Moors that see us on Facebook will see that we are live. And it should give us a notification to let it be known that we live. Okay. We apologize to the Moors for the technical difficulty, but we still will be able to reach our audience as we normally do. I'm just putting this measure out here now. And if you on Facebook, while we demonstrating, you can do a little bit of sharing. I will share this to our major platforms that we normally do so that they can tap into this while we going forward. But the Moors that are able to see it do the same. So if you have my connection on Facebook, tune in, and you can click on that special link and see the live broadcast. Or all is well. If you chose to just deal with the conference call, all is well. But nevertheless, we will be getting this message out there to all of our people. We got a grand drawing to bring on the manifest, Moors. Allah is always leading on and victory is sure. So we are most definitely here to uplift fallen humanity. If not us, then who? These are powerful lessons and blessings that we have been given, especially coming forth from our holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali. He's given everything to us. And all we have to do is take it and save us as a nation. these are holy instructions that have been given for all of the Moorish American nationals. So with these instructions or with these lessons, so to speak, we already know we can set our house in order, and that all boils down to whether or not we are willing to do this special work that we've been called to do. If not us again, then who? Okay. So let me give this here a little bit more. Okay, yeah, we ready now. We're gonna save that as it is. Islam Moors, for the Moors, like I say, that will be there. Honors to the Moors that's tuning in and our family that's out there. So our subject title is indeed a grand subject title coming from our Moorish Holy Quran. We actually dealing with the last ayah, and it is shed not thy bosom to the tenderness of love. The purity of its flame shall ennoble thy heart and soften it to receive the fairest impressions. This is a powerful demonstration. How is it even possible, to shut the gateway of entry into one's heart? That's the first question that we have to ask. Did we even know that there was a doorway or a gateway to entry into the heart? And being that we have this knowledge that there is, then who is it that was shut this special gateway of entry to the heart? If one is demonstrating, in the most noble expression of character, and notice it says, shed not thy bosom to the tenderness of love. But then it goes on and it tells you that the purity of flame shall ennoble thy heart. So the bosom is deposited in its place, and yet the heart itself is within the bosom, the heart of consciousness, of what we're referring to here. And it's saying that you can soften this measure to receive the fast of impression. So it sounds like me that there's a stamp or a seal to be brought about, so to speak. And this stamp and this seal can't be impressed upon our consciousness, not the blood pumping organ that we call the heart, but our consciousness, until it becomes soft, until it becomes, we can say, soft enough for that impression to be embedded in our consciousness. And so this is what we are getting at here, our consciousness. This is the clearest aspect of where love is able to be expressed. We're going to get into that in a second because I want to actually go into some definitions. I like to keep my dictionary of symbols on the manifest. And so let us go into some of the definitions. For the word bosom, we are told to go to the word breast. Now you hear there's a lot of symbology when you deal with this man. We hear the breast of one mother is, it giveth us suck. We hear about the bonds of affection and everything else, that has to do with that which represents love when it comes to our Moorish covenant, our holy covenant of the Asiatic nations. Also, going into a greater vibration, we know that the heart is the nearest place that we can meet the great God Allah. So the covenant is there, the great God Allah is there, the nearest place we can meet him is there. So there's a doorway of entry, but there's also a measure as to whether one is able to go into that state of consciousness, or if one's heart is sealed, one is denied entry into that special state of consciousness. And it's all based upon the way that we think. You see, even in the Grand Quran, it talks about one's heart become hardened. And when one's heart has become hard, when one heart has become like a rock or like that of a stone, how can you place an impression upon anything such as that? This also reminds me of when we talk about softening, of the heart. And I like to use our consciousness also as a representation of the walls upon all of those mystic inscriptions, are basically impressed. Even on the manifest, if you're dealing with what we call um, plastering, in that plaster in ancient Kemet, they would actually impress, within that plaster while it was still wet, it was soft enough to receive it. And this is how we get those things that became known, as holy impressions. Or some people say the writings, of God. We know that man himself is here to build a temple of perfection. The Moorish American National is here to build a temple of perfection. So all of those things that we decorate our consciousness with when it comes to divinity, just like you have decor in any particular place and you are trying to express some culture, this is how it should be when we go into the essence of self. If you are willing to dress your surroundings up when it comes to your living space, then what about going into the consciousness and adorning the consciousness with those things which will beautify the character, you see, or actually beautify, oneself based upon the fact of realizing that the master of the house is more honorable than its walls. So the true mastermind is dwelling then within the vicinity of their divinity, and that this beauty, can only be, seen by those who are able to go within the self, and deal with self-realization, self-mastery, and so forth and so on. And therefore, they are able to comprehend the mystery of human life, so to speak. Because we deal with the chemistry, the ministry, and the mystery of deific life. Because we are here to personify what we call deific will. And we know that love is the golden cord which makes us one with the creator. If we have conformed within our will to the supreme, and a lot of people like to say submit the will. But if we have conformed in our will when it comes to dealing with the great God Allah, to conform means to take on the actual attributes or the characteristics of divinity. All of these things represent the characters, of a divine impression or a divine language, or, it even used the term mystic signs and symbols. As Yehoshua was told himself to find himself, he had to go within himself and think out the meaning of what he beheld, within that temple of learning that he was in at that particular time. So this is why we talk about this impression. The only way that this can take place is that one's consciousness has been made ready. So we can look at this like, a preparation process. And once we have made the proper preparation, then in our performances, moving forward to progress, and building our temple as a perfection, before the great God Allah, we will not fail in our work. We will be very successful in what it is we bring it forth. And the world over, those at least who know us will bear witness to the work that we have done to build ourselves, build our character, because that's what these lessons are dedicated to, character building. But I want to go into the definition of dealing with this word breast. Again, this is coming from the dictionary of symbols. And it states the symbol of protection and of measurement, right? It says see weights and measurements. This is breast, right? And I'm gonna actually go into other areas of this right here because this is a very long definition, and we don't want to read this too long. All of them pretty long, and that's a good thing, So we'll go into those things that are meant to be pulled forth, so to speak. It says Warner Wolf, Islam, brother Muhammad, if you're on the conference call, We right here right now in Islam. So we already recording. We don't want to stop that right there. Yes, sir. Islam, brother, we'll reach out to you. Send me a text because what you're doing is coming through the live screen right now. Okay. Islam. So, yeah, the measure that we have here, family, is that the breast is connected with the female principle. It states here, and that is with the measure of its sense and restriction, since measurement is restricted to the object measured. This is a contradistinction. It says to the male principle, which is limitless and measureless. The right breast symbolizes the sun and the left the moon. But above all, breasts are symbols of motherhood, comfort, security, plenty. And that's why you hear the statement, the breasts of one mother have given us suck. They are connected with fertility and with milk and the first nourishment and associated with pictures of intimacy, giving and protection, upturned and chalices. Like the sky, they distill life. And like all symbols of motherhood, they are also the reservoirs of promise and regeneration, returning to the bosom of the earth. It says, like all deaths and marks prelude to a new birth. The place where the righteous take their rest is called Abraham's bosom. It says, where those that are admitted await the grace of the first resurrection. All funeral liturgies invoke the response of the souls in Abraham's bosom. It says, where there's no pain, suffering, no sighs. Despite this, the terms seem very vague and hard to interpret. Even such fathers, of a church, of Augustine and the Confessions and all of these measures, according to pseudo-Dionysius, aggregate in the breasts of angels symbolize the invincible and protective faculty of life-giving distribution as being placed above the heart. The breast chest is a symbol of protection. And you often hear us say we put protection on those things that we love. You see? And if we are able to put protection on the things that we love, we already know home is where the heart is. So you're going to protect, your living quarters. So when you are able to find that the nearest place you can meet the great God, Allah, is in the heart, you already know you're covered by divine protection, and this is where you are able to live in your divinity, live in your reality, of being able to uplift yourself, uplift fallen humanity, and uplift all of those who are also in this same realm of love. I want to go into another definition as well. Yeah, I want to go into another measure in regards to dealing with this special drawing as it relates to the same measure in the ayat, but this time we're dealing with flame because we know the flame is what was mentioned as, the purifier in our chapter. Purifier. So flame is defined as, it says, in all traditions, the flame is a symbol of spiritual purification, enlightenment, and love, right? It says, it is the image of the spirit and of transcendence, the soul of fire. It says, in its dark and pejorative sense, a flame put to wrong uses, it is the torch of discord, the burning breath of rebellion, the devouring spark of envy, the devouring fire of lust, and the murderous flash of the exploding shell. That's a powerful measure, showing you that there's a potential, within this flame, to either, do a great thing, or there's also a potential within the flame, if coming from a different state of vibration, so to speak, that will actually bring about some discord. And that's the same nature of a flame in the worldly sense. The flame can be used to warm you up, in the cold weather, the coldest months, flames can be used to cook, do a whole lot of things. Heat can be a good thing, but then on another level, these same flames that can be used in a convenient way can also become something that is dealing with that which becomes harmful to us. And mostly every worldly element, of life is pretty much the same way, family. Every element in life has a dual nature, a twofold nature, so to speak. And in that twofold nature, it can be either good to you, a benefit to you. Same thing with water. We know the benefits of water, what it does to the body. We can purify ourselves with it, but we also know that water has been used to bring about chastisement, so to speak. It has been destructive in certain matters. Now some people, we call it destructive, but really it's all a part of the natural course of life in and of itself. Water coming to the earth in the form of rain, is also that which allows, the earth itself to be replenished. So we would look at, the water and what it does in any level as something that is negative. The same thing dealing with the earth. The earth in itself, when you deal with the soil, has the ability, if it's enriched, to produce those things that are fertile, are dealing with fertility and fruits and vegetables and everything else. But also, the earth in certain cycles can become cataclysmic, in its overturn, its paradigm shift, so to speak, when it comes to dealing with the earth. So everything that we look at has some form of duality, so we can't leave, this flame out, looking at all these things. Now, when you deal with ether, on the other hand, from a divine standpoint, ether, as we talk about the ethers of our native plane, ether has to do with that which, unites, divinity of all matter. That's really what the golden cord of love is. It's an ether cord, so to speak. You see, in that ether cord, is bind to every living thing by every other living thing. The scientists will refer to something of this nature as the Fibonacci sequence, so to speak. There's an invisible grid, in regards to dealing with everything that's connected, especially when we go to talk about quantum physics and all of that type of stuff. We can look at this in many different ways, and every vibration that is put out there, we know that the vibration that we put out there brings a certain movement, brings about a certain motion, whether there's a negative pull or a positive push, or a negative push and positive pull, all of this, there's a potential for that. But it all comes from the vibration that is placed out there by creation itself. Because we know that creation matter is neither created nor destroyed. So anyway, you think that you might have got rid of, a particular situation and it's long gone. No, it's out there. You just don't see it through the perception of the eye, so to speak. So whatever we put out there will always come back to us. And that's based on the way that creation is. That's cyclic. That's one principle that will always be, in the creation. That cyclic expression. So there's one more definition I want to come forth with. And this particular one is real long. This one is actually dealing with the heart in and of itself. And man, this is very long. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to start right here. So because we want to get into the essence of the measure. But anyway, it says here, it says the heart is associated with the spirit, and sometimes the words are confounded because of the identical sense in which they are used. Hence, the expressions, a new heart also will I give you, and a new spirit will I put within you. And that was in Ezekiel and the Piscean records 36:26. And a broken spirit, it says in a contrite, it says a broken spirit, it says in a contrite heart in Psalms 51:17, the heart is always more closely linked to the spirit than to the soul. It says in Islamic tradition, the heart, which is known as the qalb, or sometimes you'll hear people say qalub, does not stand for the organ of the emotions, but for that of the contemplation and of spirit life, spiritual life. It is the point at which spirit is infused into matter. It is the essence of the individual, a parcel of flesh. It says, which the beat is the regulatory mechanism of life itself. It is the hidden and secret abode, seer of consciousness. It is held to consist of successive layers. Dawla lists the seven, and the colors may be seen when in a state of ecstasy. The seven colors, you hear us talk about that in the book of fire. It says within the nerves or the material soul, the seer comprises latent personality, implicit consciousness, deep subconsciousness, the secret cell walled against all creatures, virgin and inviolate. This should be compared with Master Eckhart's spark, the foundation of the soul. The spiritual organ, which the Sufi called the heart, called, is barely distinguishable from the spirit, ruh. So your true spiritual heart is basically being compared to the spirit, which is ruh, right? Which is what the great God Allah breathed within the bosom of man, right? According to the teachings of Islamism, right? Islam. So it says, Julie says that when the Quran talks of the divine spirit breathed into Adam, it is referring to his heart. So in other words, your true heart that keeps you living, the vital heart, this is not what's in the chest. It's what is in the consciousness. When it speaks in the Piscean records, he was going to create a man. And he said he breathed, the breath of life into that man, and man became a living soul. This was that heart being breathed forth. In Islam, we give honors to your brother Charles Warrior, Islam to you, brother, as well. So it is breathed forth into the consciousness of man, and this is where our lifeline is. So our lifeline is our love line. This is why we say love made us, and we don't make love. You see, this is what we mean when we say that our prophet was a love thought made manifest in the flesh. This is what we mean when we say that we are too a love thought made manifest in the flesh. Spirit man was given a soul that he may function upon the plane of soul, and also given the body of flesh that he may function upon the plane of things made manifest. And that's a powerful measure in and of itself. It don't get no plainer than that, family. Let's go a little further, though, in this definition, because this thing is powerful. It says this same mystic speaks of the heart as being eternal light and sublime consciousness still revealed in the quintessence of created beings. It says, so that by this means God might contemplate mankind. It is the throne of God, El Arsh. So when we hear our holy prophet telling us he's going to take us up above the sun, moon, and stars and around the almighty throne of Allah, Allah's throne is within our consciousness. That is special seat within our consciousness has never been a vacant seat. It is that we have been in a state of ignorance to our reality, and we didn't know how we were made, how fearlessly and marvelously we were made. And so therefore, we didn't know that the presence of the great God was always in the Godhead. It was always here, but we were so busy looking outside of the self, looking for everything else that we could call a God, instead of within our own consciousness. And this caused us to chase after many gods that had no power to save, or heart to sympathize or empathize, or none of that. You see, and all of this had to do with because we lost sight of reality of what it has to do with dealing with self-mastery. So we became a mystery to ourselves. The great God Allah became a mystery to us. So his presence has always been there. His providence has always been there. That's that eye of providence, that consciousness of that divinity. But who else knows this save one that knows itself? So it goes on, and it states it is the throne of God, the arsh, and his temple in the human being. Did you hear that, family? Say that again. The throne of God, al arsh, and his temple in the human being. See, ain't no spookism going on over here. The center of divine consciousness and the circumference of the circle of all that is. When we say the center of divine consciousness represents the circle 7. What is the center of all this? We talk about moving from the center to the outer bounds. And when we are able to move from the center to the outer bounds, coming from the essence of the self, this is a powerful thing, family. Because just as we are able to move from the center to the outer bounds, star 6 your phone, Moorish King, we are able to move from the outer bounds back to the center. That's a powerful demonstration. So this is the real meaning behind the impression, that we are trying to stamp, within our consciousness. That's the impression of the circle 7. Our greatest seal of divinity. That seal represents a seal of protection, a seal of perfection. Ain't got nothing to deal with spookism. It's all talking about how you made. So you can't place the blame on somebody else, because you don't want to love. You can't place the blame on somebody else because you feel with hatred. This is all a conscious choice that you choose to demonstrate, right? So it goes on and it says in this definition, and like I say, this is a very long definition. I just really took, the last portion of it to go over. It says the Quran says that the heart of the believer is between 2 fingers of the all-merciful one. And a sacred tradition puts into God's mouth the words, heaven and earth do not hold me, but I am contained within the heart of my servant. Now we think that the heavens is something vast. Most of us haven't been certain places in the earth. We only know where we are. If we travel, we still ain't traveled the whole globe. And we know that there's a great distance, like 186,000 some square miles or something like that right there. No, 24,896 square miles. To correct that, the earth in itself, in its circumference, if you're dealing with that special drawing, family, and if the Most High saying that the earth or the heavens can't contain him, yet the human heart is able to, how vast that is. What type of treasures have to be in the heart. Do you know the space of the heart? Talking about consciousness, that means that your consciousness has unlimited capacity for growth, for unfoldment, unlimited capacity when it comes to the possibility of what we call love, of what we call truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and so forth and so on. That's powerful in and of itself. Your heart is more vaster, so to speak. We can even say, when we talk about the title to our vast estate, your consciousness is more vast than the plane of things made manifest, and all of that of what you think when you deal with the macrocosm and the microcosm. Because your consciousness is God himself, God consciousness, God divinity, the God self, the God state. We got all these different terminology we use. That's love. So when we say Allah himself is love, we must purify our hearts and minds with love, where it's easy to be what your nature is. But if you don't know your nature, it's to be one with the great God. It's to be divine. It's to be one who is moving in that state of consciousness. Then somebody can tell you anything. Next thing you know, you'll be hate-filled, living under hellacious conditions, and wondering how you got there, not being able to come out of that special state. You see? So it goes on and it says, the Quran says the heart of the believer is between the two fingers of the All Merciful One. A sacred tradition puts into God's mouth words, heaven and earth do not hold me, but I am contained within the heart of my servant. The names and attributes of Allah comprise the true nature of the heart. You often hear us talking about Sibagatala. That means that in your God consciousness, instead of somebody telling you you got to be baptized or you going to hell, and your nature is to be one with your creator, to be one with the higher self. And so we call this living according to those attributes. So if the Most High wants to express himself in that love, he gonna send you to demonstrate that love to somebody. Again, if he wants to express himself in truth, peace, freedom, and justice, he's sending you to exercise that. So this is him working through you. You see, sometimes we may not even be consciously knowing that we are doing a greater work that is dealing with a mission of us being brought forth here. Not only do the great God Allah speak to us, but our ancestors speak to us, being a part of that same consciousness. This is not anything spooky. Let me go a little further. It says the heart stands for the presence of the spirit in its twofold aspect of knowing and being. There you go. So it's one thing to know and another thing to be what you know. Being it is, right? It said that's kun fayakun. That's the word that was used to create according to the Quran. Be, and it is. So it says, for it is at one in the same time, the organ of intuition, al-kashaf, which is unveiling, that's lifting the veil. It says, and the point of identification, wajad, a waj, which means with being, or al-wajad. And it is that intangible point where the created being encounters God. You see? So have you encountered the love that is within you? Because if you have encountered that love that is a part of the treasures of your consciousness, because out of the gifts of understanding come the treasures of Allah, then if you have encountered that love within you, that truth within you, peace, freedom, and justice within you, then you have truly tapped into the frequency of the God within you. And it is this that you are able to give someone else out of that special love that they may experience too, the reality of that consciousness. But we have to be conscious of our own divinity. We can't be second guessing. We can't be filled with doubt. We have to be what we know. You see? So it goes on to say, Sufi mystics also regard the heart as the throne of mercy. The love, which it is the abode, in fact, makes manifest God's love. The loving heart is a manifestation of the Godhead, the mirror of the invisible world and God himself. Powerful. The loving heart is a manifestation of the Godhead, the mirror of the invisible world and God himself. See, that's taking everything out of the realm of spookism, because if we didn't express love to each other, if we didn't express these attributes to each other and thought that they were just spiritual principles floating out there in oblivion somewhere, then we would never experience them. And outside of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, there are many other attributes. And the great God Allah just so happened to infuse our spirit, our nature, with that in which he chooses to make us strong in. There are some of us who are stronger in expressing, that love divine than others. But yet there's those who are stronger in expressing that truth than others. There's those who are stronger in expressing peace, freedom, and justice than others. But that is your particular gift. And again, there are many other attributes, you see, that are mentioned. 99 to be exact when they speak of the Grand Quran, but even beyond that, they tell you there are those that are unmentioned. You see? So it goes on. And it says, Ibn al-Arabi regarded the mystic's heart as something absolutely pliable and receptive. This is why it clothes itself in whatever shape God reveals himself. Powerful. Just as wax receives the impression of the seal. Y'all heard, this chapter, we talk about that impression, right? It says again, listen, it says, just as wax receives the impression of the seal, there's a similarity between the root of the word qalb, which is the heart, QLB, and then QBL, kabil, meaning to receive, to stand opposite, to be passive reception. And this is actually going into the term kulub and kub, and even the word Kaaba is rooted in the aspect of the heart. So the true Kaaba is in your consciousness. And that go back to ancient Kemet. That's the spiritual soul, and the spirit in the essence of itself. Ka in the ba, right? Kaaba in Arabic means cube. We hear people say, well, your gifts will make room for you. Their gifts of understanding, especially when it comes to love, will make room for other gifts, that you may be able to bring those gifts forth as well. We have unlimited capacity, boys, for progress. And it's in there. You can believe that now and know it. So it says, in the 9th century, Termody, a mystic psychologist, expounded the theory of the knowledge of the hearts and states explicitly that the word qalb denotes both the organ which controls thought and physical organs of the body. So it is the organ that controls thought that actually controls the physical organs of the body, so to speak. Consciousness. Without that consciousness, ain't nothing moving. They call that death, right? It says in Muslim psychology, the heart prompts the thoughts. It says, which are more deeply concealed, most secret, and most true. It is the foundation of the human intellect. So our intellect is a source of life, the true source of life. The prophet said the keys of civilization are placed within the hands of the Moors. But that key of civilization has to do with the key within the consciousness. That's where the real is. And if you get into the didactic art form, of a lot of the symbols that can be impressed, upon the structures of how we are made in the physiological sense, you will find that there's an ankh up here. There's a key of life up here. You see, before there was a so-called cross and being crucified, there was an ankh. There was a key of life. So you have an ability to be balanced within your consciousness. That's the real key. That's the real way of Ma'at, knowing what truth and right is, and being able to demonstrate it and personify truth and righteousness. You see, this is what we're talking about. So it goes on, and we actually almost done with this definition. And this ain't even a half of how long this thing is. It says the notion of spiritual birth is associated with the symbol of the heart. Hearts in their secrecy are a solitary virgin, says Al-Halaj. Sufi mystics are known as men of the heart. Spiritual vision is likened to the heart's eye. I have seen my Lord in the heart's eye, to quote Al-Halaj again. Even the Quran uses the heart as a synonym for knowledge when relating Muhammad's vision. Surah 53, Ayat 11. It says, the heart does not deny what it is seen. And in different contexts, Surah 22, Ayat 45, their eyes are not blind, but as seen in a different context. The hearts in their breasts cannot see. You know, so it goes on and on and on talking about this heart. You know, and in closing, it states that the heart is shaped like an inverted triangle. Like all symbols which embody this shape, the heart should be related to the passive or female principle of universal manifestation, while the symbols, which are shaped like upright triangles, are related to the active male principle. So it's showing a unity. They say it's just as much pyramid above the earth that there is beneath the earth. You see, and the grotto is one particular state. That's why there's a queen's chamber and a king's chamber. But that's a whole nother measure. You know what they even talk about when they speak of a tetrahedron. But that's a whole nother measure, right? So it says, insofar, okay, pardon self, it actually closed off. It says, while the symbols, which are shaped like upright triangles, are related to the active principle, it will be recalled that in India, one of the chief symbols of Shakti, the female element in existence, and also the symbol of primal waters, is an inverted triangle. So we talked about that duality, you know, when it comes to being being on the manifest. We talked about, and we often talk about man being truth and falsehood strangely mixed. But even in the realm of that falsehood that is strangely mixed, when we're in a higher state of consciousness, love is not far away from us. You know, we just have to be willing to, you know, grab hold to the rope, you know, as the brother prophet Muhammad Ibn Abdul, our prophet when he was Muhammad, you know, would say, grab hold to that most trustworthy handhold that never breaks. And that's the love, family. That's the real love, the golden cord of love. It can't be seen with fleshy eyes, but you can see it when it's being demonstrated. For example, you know, there was a time when our people were united with each other. There was a united front amongst our people. They truly had a grand expression of that love. That was that golden cord of love. You know, and now what we are doing, we are looking for the threads of that original golden cord so that we may begin to demonstrate what our National Grand Sheik calls that you and I tie degree. You and I tie, unite in all actuality. Unity, you and I tie. You know, it takes us in order to basically be able to heal us from everything it is that we have suffered under the auspices, of our oppressors and slavery. You see, we're talking about divinity here. If you don't know anything about that, then you don't know who our ancestors truly were. And this is why we have yet to become successful as a people, because we have not come to grasp with the reality, of that state in which we had failed from. So we still suffering from, the pitfalls of the fall of man, the insufficiency of human knowledge. So how can we love someone else when we don't love ourselves? How can we love someone else when we don't know ourselves? When you know better, you do better. So if you know that you are loved, then you can love accordingly. This is a grand drawing, family. This subject title is just powerful. When we deal with the holy instruction for all Moorish American nationals, shed not thy bosom to the tenderness of love, the purity of its flame shall ennoble thy heart and soften it to receive the fairest impressions. And so we have to figure out, what are the fairest impressions to us when it comes to our consciousness, because we have a choice as to, what type of impressions, are impressed within our consciousness. What is fairest unto thee? What is nearest and most dearest unto thee? Well, it would have to be the nearest place you can meet the great God Allah, right? That which is the fairest of impression has to do with that which is the greatest of what you are able to embody, being here in this ball of flesh that we call, a human being, so to speak, having an experience. You see? So the holy impressions are placed within us. Everything that we need, again, in order to save us, is already within this special treasure box, our consciousness. All we got to do is demonstrate it. And we only make it hard, again, because we are so focused on the things outside of us to where we haven't been taking care of those things within us. And this is why the prophet referred to this as chasing after gods of Europe, in whom you know nothing. Instead of being bound by the golden cord, we've been bound by the rope. Europe, that Eurocentric thought pattern, that westernized thought pattern. We just telling you the truth. Because there's a difference between the thought of the Orient and a thought of the Occident, so to speak. Very powerful measure. I got a drawing right here. Let me see this here. This is a powerful work too, boys. Eastern body, Western mind. And there's a reason why they're saying this. Once one's consciousness becomes fully, what it should be, even over here in the West, you see, you still are able to cope with the divinity of dealing with what is within yourself. And I had a few Orthodox brothers back in the day. They used to say, man, we got to take our hat off to y'all for being able to try to even study these things that we teach. Study love and trying to teach the teachings of it, Islam and so forth, because they're like, we live in a world that is pretty much surrounded by temptation, surrounded by, those things that will keep you distracted. But yet and still we have it within us the will to want to change our condition. Only a miracle can, inspire us to demonstrate that a special way. So I want to give honors to Prophet Noble Drew Ali, for being that love again and demonstrating that love, so that we may learn to love instead of hate. You see, Allah knows what's in the heart, so yeah, Yeah, this is a powerful measure. You know, it deals with a lot of the measures dealing with the chakra system. And if you know anything about the heart chakra in this area, as they like to draw upon it, which leads into the true heart, because that's really a ladder of divinity going from, you know, one state to another. You know, you would notice that tetrahedron, you know, what they like to call, you know, two pyramids, is there, and that's really pointing in the direction. You know, either you got the potential to go 360 degrees into ascension, or 360 degrees in descending. You see? That 180 as above and so below, so to speak, is what makes you complete. But you have the ability to become completely moving in ascension. This is why you hear me say, I rise upon the seven, you know, in ascension. You know, this is all dealing with the state of one as we relate to self-mastery. So we have to allow our hearts to come out of that hardened state in order that we may receive that fair impression, you know, of the love that we actually deserve. We got to be the love that we want to see. So I'm gonna open up the floor at this particular time. And this is a grand draw, and we give honors to our family tuning in that see us. You know, honors again to Renegade J. Charles Warrior. We see your family, Jeff Billingsley, Adek, Amor. Honors to you, Julius Funtress. Honors to all of you. And again, we apologize for the technical difficulties, but nevertheless, you know, we still reaching our normal people who got it. And, you know, next week we'll definitely have another Grand Moorish Perspectives. And I want to give honors to our family Keys as well. All of you, you know, make sure you share, you like it, and you subscribe, you know, because we got some grand measures to bring to our family. You know, these are the type of conversations that we have been yet to have. You know, so now it's time to teach our people. You know, we're not here to browbeat our people, you know, condemn them and drag them through the mud. We here to uplift our people. If we looking down, we looking to pick you up. You know, so Islamism without the schism. So at this time, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna open up the floor for our Moorish kin that's on the conference call, and you can star 6 your phone, Moors, and give your measure at this particular time. Islam. Is there anybody on our conference call that would like to bring their measure for?
Islam, well, I was, this is Dr. Bati Baby that I was doing today. I was just stepping back in. I didn't get a chance to hear the question. No.
You say you didn't get a chance to hear the question? It wasn't a question. It's actually coming from our Moorish Holy Quran. And it's actually the ayat, the last ayat in our chapter. Let me give it to you here. And it is, shed not thy bosom to the tenderness of love. The purity of his flame shall ennoble thy heart and soften it to receive the fast impression. That's how I draw it.
Islam. Islam. And, you know, first I give that man praise to Allah. Understood the prophet. Understood the credit government, our royal council, our flag, seal, emblem, our divine constitution, our swift angels, peace, systems alike. Understood all the Moors that are in the sound of my voice, and all those that are on the, all those that are on the panel, and you know, I'm thinking about this question. You know, I was listening to one of the things that always gets me is that, you know, the way you give off these measures, they come through right on time. And I'm looking at the fact that when we're dealing with love, you know what I'm saying, it's really breaking the westernized concept what love is. Breaking that concept out our minds in order so that we can be so we can be that conduit. And a lot of times we have a lot of things that can take us off that the path of what love is, especially if you haven't experienced. But once you experience love, and if you even once you experience love, that's not something that you are going to just put on the shelf or take off the shelf and put on the shelf as you will, because it's a sense of vibration. When you vibrate out of love, when you vibrate out of truth, when you vibrate out of freedom, it allows you more. It allows you more motion. It allows you more fluidity in life, as opposed to having anything else. Having in a sense the carnal aspect of what love is. And hold on 1 second. And so when we're looking at the principles, our principles, that love, truth is what brings the peace. And that's one of the things main thing I wanted to say when I was getting from your message, is that once you get that avenue and you're able to know what love is, and it always starts with yourself. That's once you first start that self-love. And I used to have a shirt that said "Fly" on it, FLY, and I got this from my uncle. And he told me to do a clothing line with it, so I did. I started a clothing line with it, but then I seen somebody else took it, but it said "First love yourself." You know what I'm saying? And that love that you first contain for yourself is the realization that you and your Creator, or Father God Allah, is one, and you in a sense is one with everything on the manifest. And then it goes into the truth aspect, because in order to love yourself, you have to have that sense of truth, and that means you got to face the truths of the hardships and all the things that you've been through in order to be that conduit, in order to get to that sense of peace that's right there. That's next principle. That peace right there brings about that freedom, or what I would like to call, you know what I'm saying, in a sense, that fluidity of being able to sense and be that conduit, it allows you to be a servant. You know what I'm saying? Once you have those principles right there intact, and then that's what brings about that freedom, so that justice could be on the manifest, being you are just. And it doesn't go that way for everybody. Everybody's not going to get to that portion of it in the same sense. You know, they say we name the part of Allah which we see. You know what I'm saying? So one may see Allah love, one may see Allah might, one may see Allah truth, one may see Allah peace, and that's what the vibrate is. But the perception of it is it's all the same, and that's where that comes when you're talking about that you and I tie is, even though you may see Allah truth, I may see Allah of justice, that we're still looking at the same Allah. We're still looking at the same outcome. We're still looking at the same journey. You know what I'm saying? And which is going to bring about that once we come into self-realization that we all we got, and we keep that on the manifest, that's going to make us and propel us into a sense that we are going to do more building than destroying. You know what I'm saying? So with that, I leave the comment, please.
In Islam and peace, we give honor to you, brother, for that draw. And I also want to give honor to all of those who have come to our audience. Sister Sina Renee, want to give honor to you. Brother Marvin, Nathaniel was Bay, Sasha Bay, all of our family tuning in. Praise be to Allah. We getting the numbers up, family. We getting the numbers up. Make sure you share this message with our family, because we got a whole lot more to come. We like the well of Zemzem over here. We don't never run dry. Islamism without the schism, that's Aliism. All right, is there any other more who would like to come forth? We have plenty of time for our Moorish kin to come and demonstrate their message. Islam. Islam, Dr. Marvin Evers Bay. What have you to say, grand man?
Gratitude. I'm trying to figure out which is the best way to go. I think I'm gonna mute my computer
come through, well, I think, okay, rising, giving all praises to the great God of Allah, giving highest honors to his prophet, our prophet, Noble Drew Ali, Allah, Shrink Abdul Ali. I give high honors to our theocratic government, our Moorish American government. I give high honors to our Act 1. I give high honors to all of our officials. I give high honors to this class, our Moorish Perspectives class, as well as I give honors to you, Dr. Shetty Wementi Mohedi Subswell, for hosting and instructing this most powerful and enlightening Moorish Perspectives class, as usual. I give honor to all those that aided in bringing forth this class this evening. I give honor to everything that is Moorish, our flag, our shield, our emblem, our divine constitution, our holy Quran, our book of Ali, our one-on-ones, 102s, like Lumen of the Nation. All of our divine revelations I give honor. Give honor to the forerunners, Dr. Marcus Mosaic Gabriel, as well as I give honor to the ancestors whom shoulders we stand upon. We are the return of the ancient ones. And I give honor to those that get their message for me, and all that will get their message after me. And this was a very powerful class. I mean, you covered a lot of ground, and, you know, I was trying to read along with you in the dictionary of symbols, and that opened up, you know, it opened up a vast degree of understanding. I put it like that when you look at that heart, you know. And reflecting on the topic here, just not thy will, thy bosom to the tenderness of love. The purity of its flame shall ennoble thy heart and soften it to receive the fairest impression. And when we speak of love, and just as it stated in this ayat, purity, as we are often taught, often instructed, it makes way for love. You know what I mean? When we think about purity, that means that we have to go within our own self, our own mind, our own heart, you know, and clear away all of that rubbish, clear away all the garbage that we've accumulated through this slave demonstration. You know what I mean? So we have to purify all of that. You know what I mean? And praise Allah for sending us a prophet. You know, praise Allah for being Allah. Because before the prophet came, we didn't know anything about who made us. We went along with what the Europeans told us. You know what I mean? Many of our people are still doing that. And I think once that they come to the realization of wake up to who they truly are, their true nature, you know what I mean? Then we can make a lot of progress. But we're making progress because it is also written that Allah is leading on and victory is assured. So when we know these things, when we know who we are and how we are wonderfully and powerfully made, you know, we can take hold to these powers. We can take hold to this truth, and we can raise ourselves up. Because the prophet said, I brought you everything to save you as a nation, but you got to take it and save yourself. See, our people, and I know for, you know, coming to that demonstration, I figured all I had to do was just show up, you know, and the government had to do everything for me. But no, I have to come into these teachings and realizing what I need to do. Realizing it is up to me to purify my heart. It is up to me to study. And I continue to study. And when I ask what to study next, the prophet would say, study yourself. You know, and this is what's so beautiful. You know, and within these lessons, and of course, all of the other teachings, you know, revelations, I mean, we believe in all of the true revelation. You know what I mean? All of the truth. Because the great God said to every people, you know what I mean, of the human family, a prophet, when they strayed. But this is a new era of time now, and this is our time, you know what I mean, to lead. And the only way we're going to lead is to purify our hearts and minds. You know what I mean, to come into the realization just what power we have. And we know that the power, as it is said, is the illusion, but we know that the force is behind that power. You know, and as we connect with our great God Allah, that power is always with us. You know what I mean? Because we be the power. But he said some beautiful things, and I could really go on and on. But going into this heart, and when we go into the heart, and you can see how it is connected. You can see how we can go from the manifest to the soul to the spirit, because we have that. That's how we are made. You know what I mean? And this is a beautiful thing. And I'm just so grateful for being here, because the more I purify my heart and mind, the more I humble myself, as we were speaking about this morning in our class earlier. To be humble, that is the key. Because when we don't be humble, then we can allow that ego to come on the manifest and create that conceitedness. You know what I mean? So we have to be on guard of that as well. So it's all about studying. You know what I mean? Continue to study and continue to study. And gratitude, God, man, for all that you've done, all that you do, and all that you continue to do. Gratitude for allowing me to speak. Islam in peace and love. Islam?
And Islam and peace and love to you as well, brother, for that special drawing. Praise be to Allah. Islamism without the schism. It don't get no plainer than that, General. Islam. All right. Is there any other more who would like to come forth and give their portion? Islam. Islam.
Can you hear me, brother?
Oh, yeah, I hear you loud and clear, brother. Islam.
Dr. Larry Daniels Bay, South Carolina Constant Agent. First I rise to give praise and glory to Allah, the most merciful. And I give high honors to his holy and divine prophet, El-Hajj Sharif Abdul Ali, the last prophet in these days of time. And I give honors to Act 1 of our divine constitution. And I honor you, brother. Great class, great subject, great reading. And I honor all my brothers and sisters online. Peace and blessings. Peace and love. Okay, that statement in the Quran, shut not thy bosom to the tenderness of love. That purity of its flame shall ennoble thee. It shall ennoble thy heart and soften it to receive the purest impression. The fairest, I'm sorry, I wrote this out. So it received the fairest impression. Oh, Islam. That's a great, I love that. Because it lets us understand that, love becomes like that rock that was, no, let me repeat that. Let me rephrase that. Love becomes like that water that was beaten on that rock, and it opens up a pathway sooner or later because it don't stop. It keeps moving, and to understand that it can soften the hardest of hearts. Because that's what it does. It turns those, because the love along with the knowledge and the wisdom that comes along with it, with what it does and what it is and who we are, and that's how you first begin to use it, because when you have a tool and you have confidence in that tool, it's going to do what you came, with what you bought it on the job to do with it, even though it might be a little bit of hard pounding, but you get the job done with that tool. So when and that's what I feel that love is. That love is that tool that man is always. It's God. It's that force that keep banging and banging. It never stops. Like the prophet told us, he said, "I brought you something that you can't tell, a bit of tell you up first, because it does not give like that." Man was bend before love bend, because love is what he's made of. Love is what it is. Love is who he is, and love is what makes the world go round. And so it received the fairest impression, and it just, that love is what softened, that which the carnal eyes may think that can't be softened, but If you bang it with that love, it's going to give sooner or later, because love is the only thing that's real. And the prophet taught us there's two things in this world, truth and falsehood. So when we think of love, we should think of that which never ends. I'm just trying to read while I'm speaking at the same time. But love overrides all, and softens every heart. Anyhow, more what I'm trying to express is that when you read this right here, that statement right there, because I circled the word love, because that is the topic of the whole of the soul. It says, shut not thy bosom to the tenderness of love. The purity of its flame shall ennoble thy heart. Ennoble thy heart. That love is what gives you the strength and the power and the warmth to go forward and help others. In that noble cause. Islam.
Islam. Gratitude. Yes, sir. Love is infinite. Want to give honors to divine angel wisdom, peace and love, family. For checking in. Don't be a stranger, family. We got these measures coming like this cyclically, every week. And once we go through our getting everything back up and running, we're going to definitely have the panel up here again, so that you can see them, and also you can come in too. So Islam. All right. Is there any other more who would like to come forth and exercise their fire? The floor is still open. Plenty of time.
Islam.
Islam, Dr. Jerry Hamid Muhammad Bey. Islam, grand man.
Gratitude, grand. Gratitude, grand man. Gratitude. Yes, I'm Dr. Jerry Hamid Muhammad Bey of the South Carolina Consulate. Arise on the 7th in praise of our Father God, Allah, who is the best known in the range of all things. I give the highest honors to our Prophet Noble Drew Ali, who is the last prophet of this new era of time now. He is the 7th manifestation in divine flesh, the 7th angel, how she refers to Ali. I give much love, honor, and respect to you, National Assistant Grand Chief of the Moorish American government in this nation. Divine teaching, grand man. We love you. Gratitude. I give honor to Act 1 of our divine constitution and bylaws. Give honor to our grand national seal, our grand national emblem, and our grand national flag. I give honor to this theocratic government in which we all live and can live. I give honors to Marcus Messiah Garvey L., the forerunner to our beloved Prophet Noble Drew Ali. And I give honors to all of our Moorish kin and our visitors on this live broadcast this evening on the national level, grand demonstration. I give honors to those that spoke before me and those that will speak after me. And I give honors to everything Moorish. Islam. As always, grand man, you cover a lot of ground. And dealing with the ayat, shut not thy bosom to the tenderness of love. The purity of its flame shall ennoble thy heart and soften it to receive the fairest impressions. Grand man, it's so unique, right? Because, we just had the divine lesson, this week. And this presentation, reminded me of what we call the divine marriage or the spiritual marriage. Because these are instructions, even though it says for a young man, we know that these are instructions for every one of us, in terms of our relationship with love. And we need to know that, like you said, like the brother said, when he's talking about love, the tenderness of love is dealing with the aspect of the truth. Because the truth is full of compassion. It's full of compassion. So it says, don't, talking to me, don't shut myself off
from the truth. And in terms of the class that you gave, that's what has happened to a lot of our people. I can't say all, but many of our people, right? They've shut themselves off. They no longer want to hear the truth. They have an adverse attitude to hearing the truth. So what happens now is that being that truth represents the highest form of love, they are now shut out. They shut themselves out. But this is giving the instructions. Don't do that. Keep my heart open. Keep my heart open to the love, to the love of the truth, right? Because see, that truth represents that flame. See, that's the kindling of the fire of true love within the heart or the mind of us, of our people, first starting with the self. And it goes on to talk about the impression, right? Will soften, meaning that now, right, once I open up, even if it's just a little bit, if I just open up just a little bit, right, as we say, and open that window to my heart and let that truth, that love come in, it begins to soften my hardened heart so that now I can begin to change and I can begin to receive more and more truth. Like it says, and receive the first impression. These impressions are unfoldment. These are divine impressions. See, it's talking about impressions in terms of one's thought activity, because we know that everything begins with the thought. So once my thought patterns are changed, I begin to change. And it raises me to a higher level. This is very, very important, because just like, when we come on these conference calls to learn, we come on these conference calls to learn. This is what we are taking in. This is a relationship, a divine relationship between our Father God, Allah, and ourselves. Islam and gratitude. Thanks for letting me share, Grandman. Grand class. Peace and love.
And Islam and gratitude to you as well, Brother Muhammad Bey. We give honors to you for that grand drawing and marvelous manifestation. This is what we're talking about. Those who are listening to this, this is what we call wisdom speaking from out of the highest plane of spirit life. And the way that these divine ministers, who are holding on to the same golden cord of love come forth, it shows, how elevated they are in their consciousness. They don't have someone that is basically controlling the way, they think as far as dealing with manifesting these measures. They bringing these gifts forth from the gifts of understanding, which are from the treasures of the great God Allah. And all of that room for growth is what allow our family to express these measures. So praise be to Allah for all of the swift angels on the manifest in this new era and time. We will not fail in this mission. I promise you that. There are great things to come. There are great things to come. Continue to do the work and manifest your gifts. All right. Are there any other Moors who would like to come forth and exercise their fire? The floor is still open. Islam, Brother Julius Sanchez Bay. Oh yeah, we hear you with loud and clear with divine ears. Go ahead, brother.
First, let us rise. I'm Julius Sanchez Bay, divine ears of Moorish American government of the Maryland Territory. We want to give Allah credit, grace, all of humanity today, and the one and only international prophet Noble Ali, who came 5 times stronger to teach love to all Asiacs all over the world. Grand teaching, grand measure. But what got me interested in it is listening to this conference call. You are teaching all of us love is a mental thing. It's your thinking and behavior. It's not like granted privileges when you march, protest, and boycott. Someone might dislike you or disagree with you. No, you said it's always thinking. It's how you think about yourself. And you ask your question, do Do you love freedom? You say yes. Do you love truth? You say yes. Do you love peace and freedom? You say yes to all these questions. Then you're going to study, you're going to unfold to these principles. They're not privileges. Like someone say, okay, you can march and boycott and protest, and you call yourself these different names out of it. But according to love, you have no symbols or images out there which you march and boycott and protest to. And prophet knows God is they give it back, like what you're saying, love. Give it back with love, not with hate. So therefore, you're always teaching and I'm always unfolding who you are. You always got the laws that you proclaim. You claim to be a Moorish American. You live by the Moorish divine constitution. You claim to be a Moorish American. You're going to pledge the Moorish American flag. You're going to be a citizen of the Moorish American government. All dealing with love. And you're dealing with principles. You're not dealing with granted privileges. Grand manager, grand teacher, just a grand sheep. I come in peace. Islam.
In Islam, brother, we give honors to you. You know, and peace indeed is the measure that we bring forth. Praise be to Allah. Islamism. All right. So yeah, this is a grand drawing. Keep them coming, Moors. Any other Moors who would like to come forth and give their portion. Exercise your 5. This is the only place that you can think free and be free. Here in your Moorish American government. Yes, sir. Peace and love to you as well, beloved brother. You know, we give honors to you, brother Tony Chiba. Yes, sir. Honors to the new. That's celestial now. And all that divinity. Yes, sir. So is there any other more who would like to come forth and express their joy? Man, our family tuning in tonight. Islam, Moorish goddess and queen. Uh-oh, they go one half of cherubim and seraphim. Goodness gracious, it's going in now. Come on in here, goddess and queen. Islam.
Sister Nefertiti, Cambridge, Virginia. First I rise, giving all praises to Allah and honor to the Prophet, giving honor to our Moorish American government, giving honor to our divine constitution and bylaws, giving honor to all citizens of Moorish America, giving honor to all divine ministers of Moorish America, giving honor to all muftis of Moorish America, giving honor to the question, giving honor to the teacher, and giving honor where honor is due. I want to give a special honor to all those who spoke before me and all those who will speak after me. Islam. We have Moses. You spoke about this is just a beautiful demonstration that you have brought to the floor. And we have to always, at all times, remember that love is our first principle of the Moorish American government. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. But love is the great God, the creator, the father of the universe. And we are his children. So it is not strange that this demonstration is being manifested. I give praises to Allah and honor to the Prophet for the Prophet Noble Ali showing us what true love is. Not that manifest love like, I feel good today and tomorrow she make me mad and next week I want to get me somebody else kind of demonstration. But this love is everlasting. This love is you. Because the Creator created you in His image and after His likeness. And He did it all in love. I praise the Lord for our prophet Noble Jew Ali bringing us these divine lessons. They're not just something that somebody made up. These are things from our forefathers before there was a time. And it's a blessing to know that your people are the ones who brought these lessons to humanity. I give praises to Allah and honor to the Prophet for the blessing of knowing that I am love. Peace and love, Moorish.
That's right. We give honors to you. Man, that is a real national treasure, to come forth, with that special thought, Goddess and Queen. I want to give honors to our chairman, and I keep telling our family they better get hope to this book if they ain't got it. If you want a copy of this book, contact headquarters, The Exhuming of a Nation, Noble Drew Ali. 700 pages of straight fire, burning up, falsehood, root and branch. And I want to come forth from the book of fire, in the likeness of that love, just briefly with a small portion here. And our chairman, man, did so good. I mean, anywhere you pretty much open this demonstration up, it's going to fall on some love somewhere. So here he said in page 313, our brother said, "Who made you?" He said, "Can we see him? Where's the nearest place we can meet him?" And this is talking about Allah is the one made you. Can we see him? No, not with the corner eye, because you are not able to look with the corner eye and see that spirit of divinity. It has to act through someone. So they say, where's the nearest place we can meet him? In the heart. So no matter how righteous a person claims to be, or how great the station they hold over other men, a true knowledge of the third eye, east, we was talking about that east within, right, is necessary to meet the great God, that third eye. The wisdom of the third eye is what truly separates gods from men. Its pathway is thin, a thin line between divinity and matter. Make no mistake about this, right? It says, fixed upon the heart, a conscious man center, his true east within, north, east, south, and west are earthbound directional poles, established by man to keep himself from further losing his way. See Ethiopia. People in the path of wisdom are not confined to the latitudes and longitudes. These are earthly directives bound by man within the limits of his human knowledge. These boundaries, which begin and end, are now gods that men have created for themselves to serve. These gods now control the journeys of men by departure and destination. Ergo, men of thought travel centrifugally, it says, from his center to outer bounds of life. And if man must see his God, he must look within. Then he will see God is not confined to space nor time, non-directional, but is omnipotent everywhere. See Adam and Eve. The seventh chakra is described by the Buddhists as a 1,000 petal lotus called the Sahasrara. And this is the boundlessness unto whether the third eye unfolds. And man in his thinking, a man is a thinking thing, it says, with a will, and is accountable for his actions. The seven seals of the human body are thought activated, and is subject to man's will. They are aligned and rooted from the head of man downward to the end of the spine. 7 to one. For man to enter the third eye, his thought pattern must then be reversed. The reverse from first to the seventh is necessary because man must raise his thought from humanity's fallen state back to infinite wisdom, or from his bottom to its top, or from finite to infinite. And so when you get into that infinite realm, family, you're dealing with love. You know, this is the love. It's your highest state of consciousness. Honors to our chairman for that, and honors to, you know, the goddesses and the queen who've been on the front line, you know, being that love divine, aiding and assisting, putting security on what they love so that we can put security on what we love as well. Islam. All right. Still time on our clock here. All right. Are there any other Moors that would like to come forward? I wouldn't be surprised if my Grand National Secretary of the State want to come up in here. That's right, brother Tony Chiba. The brother say powerful. He say, I'm open to anything that will make me a better man. That's right, good brother. That's what it's all about. You know, what'll make us better. Islam. All right. Now, you're all right, good brother. You know, we accept your greeting however it come, brother. We know you're pure in heart. We already know that. Yes, sir. Honest to you. Yes, sir. And is there any other? Okay, Islam, Grand National Secretary of the State.
I heard you loud and clear. Praise Allah.
Islam, Allah's do the praises. Raise the ethers, goddess.
Islam, Moorish Ken. First of all, we rise, giving all praises to our Father God Allah, giving honor to our Prophet Noble Jurali, the last prophet in these days and times, giving honor to our Moorish American government, all of our officials, staff, with angels, Maltese, divine ministers, most especially our Moorish Ken. Giving honor to all those Moors that spoke before me, all those Moors that will speak after me. Giving a special honor to our National Assistant Grand Sheikh of Moorish America, Dr. Shedo Amenti and Mohedu Septuel, for opening our meeting according to law. Also, to our National Grand Secretary of Indiana, Dr. Sayanaki Nuhekaru L, for taking registration and also reading our subject chapters for the week. Giving a special honor to our host instructor, our National Assistant Grand Sheikh of Moorish America, Dr. Shedo Amenti and Mohedu Septuel, for this grand Moorish perspectives class this evening, giving honor to Act 1, to our family online, and to all of our Moorish kin. Our subject matter, dealing with Ayat 10, shut not thy bosom to the tenderness of love. The purity of its flame shall ennoble thy heart, and soften it to receive the fairest impression. And just, it's been so many keys and grand measures brought forth by itself, and also our Moorish kin. When I was looking at the fact that here in the West, every day you see atrocities or horrors. If you look at it from a physical perspective, as far as man's inhumane treatment to man. And there are so many distractions, pacifiers of the mind, illusion, manipulations, things to keep us bound down to this plane of things that one can see, hear, feel, taste, and touch. But the thing about it is, if you're not careful, you can become hardened to all these things that we see, these atrocities that we see. And, the prophet stated that the status that our people was in was mental slavery. And we are truly blessed as a people to have a prophet that has come to us to let us know that we don't have to any longer be in a state of inconstancy or instability. 1 minute we up, the next minute we down. And that's because our focus has been looking outside of the self. But when we recognize the fact that our holy and divine instructions tell us to go within, to study the self, to know that we are a spirit and a part of the great God Allah. That, and you were a grand measure when you were speaking about the vastness of our state of consciousness, as compared to the circumference of the earth. So if we are a child of the Creator, that means that the same attributes that the Creator has, these are the same attributes that we have. So that means there is no, when we keep it above the neck or in our higher state of consciousness, there is nothing that we cannot do as God. And when we demonstrate from the level of divine love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, then we are able to not only uplift ourselves, but extend that hand out in love and aid and assist our brothers and sisters along the way. And this is how we uplift humanity. The keys of civilization, if we go back and study our special history, were in our ancestors' hands. And now that key has been given to us again, and that was a grand measure in reference to that arc of life being again above the neck. So if we think that we are limited and bound down because thought is the cause of it all, then so shall we be. But when you start to read, to do the research, to see how beautifully and wonderfully you are made, and then start monitoring and gauging your thoughts. If you have a negative thought, you're going to pull negative things to you. If you have a positive thought, then you're going to open up that grand demonstration of limitless degrees, and how you can bring your divine talents and gifts forth to be of a benefit to humanity. So these are just grand measures that you have brought forth. And the thing about it is, here in our Moorish American government, we learn how to not shut our bosom to the tenderness of love. There's nothing wrong with love divine. This is where our Creator is, and so are we. So gratitude, Moor, for calling me forth. Much peace and love to all of my Moorish kin. Gratitude.
Oh yeah, Islamism Grand National Secretary of the State. We give honors to you for that drawing. And that's a powerful degree of unfoldment, and that's exactly what we talk about. And ain't nothing wrong with love. And that's the thing. I know a lot of times, especially when I'm moving through the terrain, and I move and I run into different brothers or whatever, I always tell my brothers, I love you, brother. And some of our people may feel some type of way, because of, the toxic expressions of that according to the way the West demonstrated. But, this is what we do. We let our people know we love them, not just by, word of mouth, but actually, the action that follows. And so, yeah, we definitely, and the Prophet said it best. He said we need to learn to love instead of hate. In other words, somebody done taught us to do other than love. And that is the bedrock, so to speak, upon which everything else lies when it comes to building the temple of perfection. So gratitude, Grand National Secretary of the State, for that measure. All right. Is there any other more who would like to come forth and express their love? Demonstrate that which is from on high. Again, we want to give honors to our audience, man. Everybody that checked in. We want to give honors to all of you. We most definitely love our family. Like I said, y'all showed up and very much y'all demonstrated tonight. Thank you for your support, just being present. Okay. All right. I guess our family is pretty much, it's a wrap. Okay. Islam, I think. Okay. There you go, Brother Jehudi. Islam.
Islam, Sister Grand Sheikh. Gratitude for saving some time for me. Islam family, I am Dr. Akua Ru Jehudi Bey. First of all, let me give praise to mighty God Allah. Let me give honors to Holy Prophet Noble Drew Ali. We give honors to the Moorish American government, its flag, seal, emblem. We give honors to Act One, honors to all the officials of Moorish America, honors to all Moorish Americans here, there, and everywhere, and honors to you, Assistant Grand National Grand Assistant Grand Sheikh, for this grand class this evening, and honors to all those that spoke before me, and honors to those that will speak after me. It's a grand measure, and when we talk about this love, it's something that our people have been searching for a long time. Having been through the trials and tribulations that we've been through, having being stripped of our God, being stripped of our identity, being stripped of our love for one another. As you had mentioned, there was a time when we demonstrated that love to one another. Now, I remember those days vividly. There was a beautiful time when you could walk down the street and speak to another brother, and not feel any kind of way that he was gonna rob you or look at you any kind of ill way with the lower self. It was a grand time when we demonstrated that love for one another. And now it just seems as though there's such an emptiness when we look at one another with eyes of deceit and anger, and looking at one like we the adversary, like I'm your enemy, and it's the furthest from the truth. Our prophet, he came to bring that love back to us, and I give all honors to him for being able to be a Moorish American, being able to know who made me, that I am one with the great God Allah, that I have a flag, I have an emblem, I have a seal, I have a constitution and bylaws. I have principles now that I can live by and share with my family and my friends. I have those things within me now that I can just feel proud of. When I say I love you, I come from the heart, and this is being a Moorish American, being in the Moorish American government, and being able to demonstrate that love wherever we go, and being part and partial of everything that has uplifted us, being part and partial of everything that has given us the ability to be ourselves once again. We are the divinity of our great God Allah. We have those attributes and potencies of our great God Allah, who is love. So when we give these lessons, and when we learn from these lessons and learn from our teachers, from each other, it just elevates us even that much more into who we truly are to one another. So I give honors to you, Assistant Grand Chief, for all that you do and all you continue to do to bring these lessons forth. Islam, family, peace and love.
In Islam and peace and love, we give honors to you, General, for that special draw, and praise be to Allah. Islamism without the schism. Gratitude. Well, all right, family. It's been a grand time, with our family getting, the different perspectives on this special measure. And may we all be more conscious of the divinity, of that divine energy that we call love, and protect that special energy, as well. So at this time, we call upon our officials. We'll start by calling upon the goddess, Sister Alseta M.A.N. Islam, are you there, sister? Well, all right, we know she's about her father's business. So let us call forth then our National Grand Mufti, Dr. Khonshu Ma'at Herube. Islam, you there, Grand Man?
Islam,
Islamism.
gratitude. We rise first and foremost, giving all thanksgiving, adoration, worship, and praise to the great God of the universe, our Father God Allah, the most beneficent and the most wise. We give the highest honors that we can give to his prophet, our prophet, the last prophet of these days and in these times, Prophet Noble Drew Ali, the savior of humanity. We give honor to his forerunner, Marcus Mosiah Garvey, and we give honor to his government. Our government, the Moorish American government, the government in which we live according to Act 6. We give honor to the officials of this said government, our divine ministers, swift angels, mufti, royal council, secretaries. We give honor to our citizens, the Moorish Americans. We give honor to our flag, our divine constitution and bylaws, the Holy Quran, our Grand National Seal and Grand National Emblem, our Book of Fire, the Exlument of a Nation. We give honor to everything that is Moorish. We give a special high honor to you, National Sister Grand Chief, Dr. Shadua Minty Ahmed Shepsuel, for bringing forth this grand Moorish perspective this evening. We give honor to all of our Moorish kin who have spoken before us, and to our Moorish kin that will speak after us. We give honor to you, angels. We continue to give honors where honors are due and honoring all true and divine prophets. And, of course, we give honor to our ancestors as they have come before us, leading the way. And we are them today without doubt or contradiction, because no one has the power to change man from his sin nature. And praise Allah for that. And it's, like I said, it's been a grand class. And, you know, when we are opening our hearts and minds to the truth, you know, we will be in the message, or not just the message we bring, but when we're searching for that which is innately in us, sometimes we think, or sometimes it's perceived to us that there's things or obstacles that can keep us from being one with our Father God Allah, from being one with our very nature, from demonstrating the divinity that we are. But nothing can be further from the truth, because Allah is all. And see, that's a avenue or aspect of our existence that has been, you know, warped in our minds. Because even when we was in the Christian demonstration, we said the Creator, you know, that was created everything, but we still found some way to detach ourselves from that understanding and look at God outside of ourselves, and yet at the same time still say that you know, the Creator is all. And so that's by purpose. You know, it's not by haphazard coincidence, but it's because of programming or a scheme that ones have put into place in order to steal your birthright, to steal your access to your Creator or to the force which directs all power. That is important to us in the essence of knowing the self, seeking the truth, open up the hearts and minds of our people, open up the way so that we could go through and find that place where we could build a temple of perfected man in the self. You know, this robbing or a misdirection of that purpose that's caused us to get to this point where we're at now. And I think that all these lessons and that are holy and divine instructions from our prophet did with that bringing back one into the grand drawing. What we are talking about here. We're talking about reuniting ourselves with love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. However you slice the lesson up, it's always going to come back to one getting the character right. Being sincere, showing virtues that are becoming of our Father God Allah, honoring our Father and our Mother, that our days may be long on earth, which the Lord our God Allah has given to us. So we're securing this, and the only way to secure it is, of course, through the character building lessons, through taking a look at the self and seeing where we need to make an improvement and work on it. I don't care how you slice it up. All lessons come to this point of understanding, and so that's why it's so important that we look at these lessons in the Moorish perspective, because we have to look at it in the perspective that is divine, no longer worldly, no longer one that's built upon material understanding or even mental comprehension, because the finite mind cannot comprehend things infinite. But again, having the eyes or coming from the highest plane of spirit life where the wisdom speaks. And grasping a hold of that concept once again, because it's going to lead us to victory, surely. So, on this Moorish perspective, we just say, hopefully you get some of these divine lessons and start to make or continue making the character within oneself strong, fortifying your own temple of Allah within yourself, work with the rest of us towards peace on earth and goodwill towards men here in this nation of Moorish America, where we do it divinely with Allah leading on and victory assured. Gratitude for calling us forth, and gratitude to you, Moorish America, for being here with us, giving us your time, attention, and respect. We love you. Islam and peace.
In Islam and peace, Grand Mufti, we give honors to you for those remarkable reflections, in that lesson and blessing, Islam. Well, all right. Let us call forth our Grand National Secretary of State, Sister Shepsu, Rakat Ma'at and Poo, Tutankhamun Bey. Islam. You there, Goddess and Queen?
Islam. Yes, sir. Close as a thought.
Islam.
Islam, Moorish Ken, having already risen, given praise and honor where due. Again, much honor to all of our family online and to this special class for these grand blessings brought forth. When we look in our chapter in reference to holy instructions and warnings for all young men, we're dealing with Moorish American nationals. The Prophet lets us know about the various pitfalls and traps because of allurements or our desires and things of that nature. But he also lets us know that because this is what we have become accustomed to here in the West. But when you look at it from the aspect of there is something greater within ourselves, that in essence, you can't see with that manifest or carnal eye. But there is something beyond these pitfalls, these allurements, attractions, bait, temptations, and things of that nature. And when we look at the words and the subject matter, just the word ennoble in reference to ennobling one's heart, being able to raise your level of consciousness up to see how beautifully and wonderfully you are made. When you are consumed by anger or fear or hatred and things of that nature, then it is hard for it's hard to receive the fairest impressions, but when you are able to start by lessening that anger, getting rid of these things that you know are of no benefit to you, because even scientifically we recognize the fact that holding on to hatred, anger for years, months at a time, that sickens or brings the body to a state of dis-ease, including one's thought pattern, your thinking, and things of that nature. So in essence, we are bringing harm and damage to ourselves. But when we are able to raise our thoughts to a higher vibration, then this is where you are able to receive the fairest impressions, those things that bring about goodness, peace, happiness, harmony, and makes you want to do right, for your fellow man, your brother, or your sister, regardless of what is customary out here now. Somebody look at you cockeyed, you ready to take them off the count. Nothing can be further from the truth. And that kind of thinking is an error. So if not us, then who? We are who we are waiting for. So it starts with the self. If we want to see change, if we want to see conditions be better, then demonstrate it in the self. And that divine love vibration carries, it's known by many terms, pay it forward and things of that nature. But in essence, we're dealing with, we are the children of one Father. And when you look at it from that vibrational level, then all roads and all doors will open unto you based upon that love divine. So this has just been a magnanimous class. Much gratitude to you, National Assistant Grand Chief, for bringing forth these degrees and measures, and much peace and love to all of our Moorish kin and family online. Peace.
Islam. And gratitude for that measure, Grand National Secretary of the State. That's right, we got to be what we want to see. Islamism. Well, all right. Let us call forth our Grand National Chairman, Dr. Akin Acton Pert M. Heru to come and bay. Islam, you there, Chairman?
Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah, we hear you loud and clear with divine ears.
Oh, man.
Love
Praise
vibrating
the Lord for it, then. Man, give much praise to Allah and honor to the Prophet of our leaders. Give much honor to all Moorish Americans here, there, and everywhere. Give much honor to everything Moorish. Moorish divine constitution, our national flag, our grand national seal and emblem, everything Moorish. And our history and our future. Oh, man, magnanimous class. And I want to extend much honor to all Moorish America within our range. And the reason why is because you're not here by accident. You're not here because Satan loves you. You're here because of divinity. That's why the first question in our questionnaire is, who made you? I'm sorry, say it again. Who made you? Well, all right. So since that's the situation, what's the problem? Somebody forgot it. It didn't change it because of their forgiveness, but somebody forgot the first question in the questionnaire. Who made you? So we're not going to say it was, it was a mistake made. We leave it like that. Foolishness and wisdom. And it wasn't wise. So the thing about it is more that we are so honored, so blessed to have this 101 questions that only divine ministers can answer. Only angels can answer. Only gods can answer. And so the honor and the blessing more. We love it. Islamism without a schism. Peace.
Islamism without the schism. Yes, sir. Oh, man, it don't get no plainer than that. Well, y'all heard my chairman. I'm telling y'all, I better get that book of fire. He just told you we the question and the answer. Goodness gracious. All we got to do is be it. Well, we know our national grand chief ain't far off. So we going to call him on up in here so he can put the icing on his angel food cake. Islam Grand Sheikh Dr. Serapis Amin Rael. You there, Grand Man?
All you got to do is take just see, bro.
Islam.
Islam. Once again, we give a lot of praise. Highest honor to his love song and the deductive way. Our brother man is prophet, number 2 Ali. Came 5 times more powerful. Said you and I free. Thank you, prophet. Honor to our sisters and our said, as well as our grandmother, sister grandmother, grandmother, core, band minister, student minister, delight. Give honors to a flag, a seal, an emblem, constitution, for which you stand, book of Bob, book of Ali, do everything that it takes to more to be free. To this immaculate class this evening, the power of participation of the citizens along the way, and the fact that we want to know about that potent power called love, and what love got to do with it. Love got everything to do with it. Love is what created the world. It created everything there was, never going to be. In the science that it brought forth you and me, gave us a mission that we're supposed to be on here on the earth land. But we couldn't get here unless we got here by love. We want to give our Father God Allah the praise for selecting all of us here on this conference call, those that are visiting for the first time before another time, this including you too, to give ourselves a holy sanctuary within the arms and bosom of our Father God Allah. Last prophet in these days was that is prophet Noble Ali. This brother was divinely prepared by Allah to redeem us from our sinful ways, and which is sure to come if we don't tighten up. And this is why these classes are illustrations are so important, because we want our brothers and sisters to get the lesson so that we can be the blessing and not the curse among the nations of the earth. We've already been the curse. We're striving to rectify that and bring ourselves back in harmony, in universal harmony with our Father God Allah, our ancient forefathers, by his prophets. All we got to do is follow the prophet and dictates of consciousness that he set forth in each of our souls, and be about the message that we bring, demonstrating that love, true peace, freedom, justice, and everything that it brings. Praise Allah, honor to the prophet, and honor to all the Moors here, there, and everywhere. January 15, 1929, a warning from the prophet read in every meeting. I hereby inform all citizens they must end all radical, agitated speeches while they work in the ongoing streets. We are for peace and not destruction. Stop flashing your card to Europeans. It causes confusion. Remember, your card is for your salvation. Failure to obey these orders will feel severe consequences. We have to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. These principles violated, justice again must take its course. Any citizen or group of citizens who homeless is feeling toward the government or the prophet of violation of the divine covenant of the Moorish movement will receive a reward from Allah for their unjust deeds. All true Moors will and must obey the laws laid down to them by the prophet. They lose confidence in their prophet. They should turn in their card and bless. Each one interprets the beds return to the state where the prophet found it. This is the holy and divine movement founded by the prophet Noble Ali. And if the prophet is not right, the government is not right. The prophet, therefore, is setting up the divine free to all Moorish Americans. They do their part to protect the prophet and the government. This is an everlasting movement founded by the prophet through the will of Allah to redeem his people from the sinful ways. God, the prophet Noble Ali. This I hear back. Islam, Islam. Ye are the children of one father, divided for by his care, the rest of one mother. Has given you such that the bond of affection. Therefore, unite you with our brothers and peace and happiness may dwell in our Father's house. And when you separate in the world, remember the relation that binds you to love and unity, and prefer not a stranger before thy own blood. If our brothers in adversity, assist him, our sisters in trouble, forsake her not. So shall the fortunes of our Father contribute to the support of his whole race, and his care be continued to you all, and your love to each other. Islam, Islam, Islam. This meeting is officially closed according to Act 2 of our divine constitution, and love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Praise the Lord, all we see y'all on Sunday school. This meeting is officially closed. Islam.
Islam.
Great class.
Love power. Love power. Love power, Moors. We love it.
Not Florida, Georgia.
Islam. Love power, Moors. We love you. And honest to everybody that tuned in. Man, we had a full house tonight. We had a full house tonight. All right, see y'all Moors in our Sunday school tomorrow. It's on. I want to give honor to everybody that tuned in. Again, our beloved brother, Renegade, J. Charles Warrior, Jeff Billingsley, Adek anymore, Julius Funkris, Sheena Renee. We give honor to you, Goddess and Queen, Brother Marvin, Nathaniel Evans Bay, Sasha Bay, Cena Renee, Divine Angel, Tony Chiba. We give honor to you, Grand Man, for always supporting us. Yaqub El Hamid, Gamil Bay. We give honor to you, Islam family, Divine Angel. Yep. Oh man, we give honor to everybody. Stephen P, peace and love. Body Bay, Born Dog. We give honor to you as well, brother. Marty Bontas. Honors to you, family. And tune in again, because we're gonna continue to elevate. Peace and love. We love you. Gratitude.